Today, Russia is rocked by a terror attack. The Democrats continue to play hardball, and Susan Rice is exposed. We've got these stories and more, so get ready, because it's all the truth. Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me on this very first episode of The Truth. Let me begin by saying something that's very important. Despite the false narrative of the Democrats and the liberals who run the mainstream media, President Trump is doing a good job. He is making progress. And the way I defend that statement is look at the facts. We have not a one, but a two positive, strong jobs report so far. We have a stock market that's rocking. And because he continues to pull back regulations, President Trump has enticed CEOs across the country of businesses big and small to say, hey, we're going to be hiring more Americans. We're going to be building factories right here in the good old USA. That's what President Trump's doing. And oh, by the way, you want to go down to the border? Border Patrol reports that apprehensions are down by 40%. That's just in 2 months, down by 40%. Meanwhile, deportations up. We're sending the garbage home. The list of accomplishments so far, they're out there, and we're going to cover them all. And the reason why we're going to cover them all is because you deserve the truth. The mainstream media and the Democrats, they want to set up President Trump as if he's this epic failure, not only today, but in the years to come. You deserve more. You deserve the truth. Reaction on this with me today and with me every single day will be Harlan Hill. Harlan, I want to say thank you for working so hard and getting all this together with me.
Thank you for the opportunity. This has been quite the journey, but we're finally there. And I wanted to remind you, I mean, you were talking about the list of accomplishments. It's still possible he can get health care reform done. Just this weekend, you know, he was meeting with Senator Rand Paul, and one of his most vocal critics at one point to start moving the ball forward again on health care.
And you know, it's funny you say that, because that's what I was talking about when I was saying how it is that the liberal media wants to push a narrative. You know, oh, he failed on health care, it's all done, it's all over, it's over. And what does he do? He licks his wounds, he gets back up and says, wait a second, I made promises, and I'm going to keep those promises, and I'm going to get this done. So he goes with a guy like Rand Paul, who he's never had the greatest relationship with, says, hey, let's go play some golf, and you know what, we got to get health care for the American people. I mean, that's a president.
Hats off.
All right. So that said, there's another thing that there's an accomplishment that's coming to me here as well, and that is the fact that we are going to get Neil Gorsuch as our Supreme Court Justice, whether the Democrats like it or not. And they're pushing back, and they're pushing back, and they're pushing back. And we want to play a clip right now of Lindsey Graham, what he just had to experience at a town hall over the weekend.
And to the Democratic members of the Senate who want to filibuster this guy, you're taking the Senate down a very dangerous path. Don't do it. I will vote to report him out, and if I have to, I will vote to change the rules, because I'm not going to allow President Trump to be denied the same opportunity that every president's had for 200 years, because you're mad and you can't accept the outcome of an election.
No, I typically don't agree with much of what Mr. Gramnesty, we call him Gramnesty of the immigration circles, what he says, but he's spot on right there. I mean, he nailed the ball over the park, over the fence, and that's really what it comes down to, Harlan. The Democrats just will not accept their defeat of Hillary Clinton.
Well, you know that he's saying something right when a room full of paid liberal activists are screaming and crying. So, you know, this is one of these rare occasions where I also agree with Lindsey Graham. And you know, I think that the reason Democrats just cannot come to terms with this election is because they didn't see it coming. They really didn't. They were buying this narrative that Hillary Clinton was inevitable. You know, and that's because the people in the media, liberal pundits, they only talk to people that sound like them, that think like them. They didn't see it coming.
No, and so what they're doing now is they push this Russian narrative, right? They're trying to jam this down our throats. And meanwhile, today, you know, you have a terrorist attack taking place in Russia. Unfortunately, we have 10 people known dead, and we have 50 injuries, and I'm sure that's going to go up higher. It turned out to be in St. Petersburg, Russia, where Vladimir Putin was today.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if there's one thing where I think that Trump could now use this event, and I hate to say that in that sort of breath because it sounds horrible, but to use this horrible event to sort of change the narrative on how we deal with Russia.
Absolutely.
Because we really need to come together with Russia and the rest of the world to defeat Islamic terrorism.
Yeah, absolutely. Russia and the United States have a common enemy, and it's radical Islamic terrorism. And it comes from one part of the world that we are both interested in, and we both have military forces in. We should be working with them. President Donald Trump said this when he was a candidate. He said that I'm going to sit down with the Russians and Putin, and we're going to solve this problem. We're going to fight with them. We're not going to be at odds anymore.
I think we're going to start seeing the very presidential part of President Trump, the part that the mainstream media is just not going to be able to fight against. I think we're going to start seeing that stuff come in droves, and I'm so excited about it. And here's another reason why I think we're going to get it. I think that President Trump today is smiling that he finally knows who it is. Susan Rice. Susan Rice has been named as the person who said, you know, maybe we should start surveilling President Trump and everybody he's associated with. I mean, is it not true, Harlan? I mean, this came out in Bloomberg today. Bloomberg broke this story that Susan Rice is the person behind the whole, hey, let's start trailing these people, unmasking, all that other different stuff that's going on. I mean, this woman has a history of lying.
Yeah, right. Benghazi, right? She lied point blank to the American people on that. You know, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And we know when she was asked on PBS just a couple of weeks ago, in March of 2017, when she was asked, did you surveil President Donald Trump or any of his team members? She said, I know nothing about this. I was surprised to see the reports in the news today. And so she's been caught in a lie again.
Look, well, this is what Obama does.
Yeah.
Look, I want to play a clip, right, from 60 Minutes back in 2013. Play the Rice clip.
According to an article in the New Yorker, every time there's been a question about putting restraints on the NSA up to now, the president has sided with the intelligence community.
What the NSA and our intelligence community does as a whole is designed to protect Americans and our allies, and they do a heck of a good job at it.
Yeah, they do a heck of a good job at it. Yeah, I think the most important thing in that clip right there is that she said that the president has always supported what she was doing. And so, you know, President Trump took a lot of crap, from people after he made that tweet about the fact that the surveillance. Okay, maybe he said wiretapping. You know, that's all semantics. At the end of the day, Harlan, in 20 seconds or less, what does this say about Obama and his entire administration?
Well, I'm not going to, don't let me talk. Let's take Newsweek's word. They said that she was Obama's right-hand woman. That's all you need to know. He knew exactly what was going on. Exactly.
All right, listen, don't go away. We got so much more coming up. In fact, Scarlett's coming in right now to give you what it is, the cost to you about refugees coming in over. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. DML app. Here's why you need to get it. Because there's so much bias out there. There's so much fake news, and they're pushing it on you all day long. But we are the brand you can trust. So you get the DML app. You go to the iOS App Store or you go to the Google Play Store and you download the DML app. It's completely for free. You put the notifications on, whether it's on your phone or on your iPad or whatever device you're using. All day long, we are sending you the information that you know you can trust and is completely true. That's why you get the DML app. Welcome back. You know, in the last segment, we talked about the accomplishments of President Trump. What we failed to mention are the 2 executive orders he put forward to try to protect you from terrorists coming in from the Middle East, known better as travel bans, but the courts have delayed both of those. Here's the deal, though. Although there is a national security component to this, there's also a cost. The amount of money it costs you taxpayers to pay for Muslim refugees is unbelievable. Here with those numbers is Scarlett Fakar. She comes to you from Houston in today's DML report. Scarlett, it's great to have you. We know that you're having a little bit of audio trouble here today, so we forgive you for that. And tell us what you got.
Hey guys, yeah, a little bit of an audio problem today, but we'll have it fixed by tomorrow, so no worries. Okay, so first off, the cost of each refugee that enters the U.S. can vary greatly. It all depends on their country of origin, their education level, their English proficiency, and more. But statistically speaking, refugees from the Middle East cost the United States significantly more than refugees from other countries, according to the Center for Immigration Studies. On average, each Middle Eastern refugee costs an estimated $64,370 in their first 5 years in the U.S. But other studies suggest that this number is actually on the low side, and no study has ever suggested that this number is overestimated. So why do Middle Eastern refugees cost more? Data suggests that they use more government welfare programs and only average about 10.5 years of education upon arrival. So it will take more time for them to find jobs that pay well, causing them to pay less in taxes and rely more on public services for an extended amount of time. You may be asking why the other studies suggest $64,000 in their first 5 years is on the low side. Well, it's because there are many public expenditures not included in the analysis, such as English language instruction in public schools not covered by the Office of Refugee Resettlement, and the cost of public workers who help refugees sign up for assistance. That same study says for what it costs to resettle one Middle Eastern refugee in the U.S. for 5 years, 61 refugees could be helped in the Middle East for 1 year. In Houston, I'm Scarlett Fakar, and that's your DML report. Until later, back to you in New York.
Unbelievable. You know, Harlan, the problem I have with this, aside from the fact that it's over $60,000, is the fact that we have homeless vets, right, all throughout the country. We've got homeless people who can't find a job. I mean, they're on down their luck. I see it all the time traveling through with all these tent cities. And meanwhile, we're giving away our taxpayer money to people coming in from the Middle East.
Absolutely. It's unconscionable. I mean, and the figure that stuck with me is that the average education of these refugees that are coming here is, that of a 10-year-old. It's just crazy. And we've abandoned our vets in the meantime, both in terms of finding them new good jobs and healthcare too. It's unconscionable.
You know who paid the price for that dearly, right? The big tough guy from Starbucks, the guy who owns Starbucks, Schultz. Oh, I'm going to hire all these refugees coming in. Yeah, people stopped going to Starbucks. They start going to Starbucks. Now what he's doing? Now he's hiring veterans. Way to go, Americans. All right, don't go away. When we come back, we've got a special report on Nancy Pelosi. I usually travel the country by rail and by car, and the reason why I do that is because it gives me the ability to put my finger on the pulse of America. And here's what I hear all the time. America is broken and we can't fix it. Well, the reason why you can't fix it is because people aren't getting the truth from the media, and that's what we're trying to do here. But it's very hard to compete against these other big, huge networks. So that's why we need your donations. So we ask you, please go to dmldaily.com/donate and give whatever you can.
Them targeting sanctuary cities is a way for them to tell mayors and other folks, around the country, one, that they're sticking to what I think is a very unconstitutional and un-American policy, and trying to intimidate us into being what I've called fugitive slave catchers, to run around and do their bidding in our cities. And if we refuse to do that, then it makes it difficult for them to continue their policy, because they don't have the resources to kind of run down all of the undocumented residents locally.
The audacity of that man to compare slaves to illegal aliens who are here at their own will, making money, going to school for free, getting in-state tuition, you name it. To discuss this and other things about sanctuary cities is a good friend of mine, and who I think is the smartest person in the country when it comes to the immigration issue, is Michael Cutler. He's a former INS agent and a very dear friend of mine who has appeared in all of my films. Michael, thank you for being here on our first show on The Truth.
Honored to be on your first show, so thanks for having me, as always, Dennis.
What do you say to that? I mean, what do you say to that sort of rhetoric?
Well, if he really believes it's about slavery, and it is about indentured servitude all too often, then why in the world do you want to continue that pattern of bringing in people who are being exploited, lowering American wages, displacing American workers? If you look at the damage done to American workers, especially American blacks, how in the world does this guy not get it? The reason for hiring illegal aliens is to pay them substandard wages and work them under substandard conditions. If it wasn't for that, think of how many jobs would be freed up for Americans who are losing their jobs, losing their wages. Ella Greenspan testified for Schumer back in 2009 on two issues: illegal immigration and the H-1B visa. Both are designed according to Greenspan, but it's not being broadcast in the news. You should run that tape. Both are infecting the wages by driving them down. In fact, Greenspan said the way to achieve wage equality is to make Americans compete with foreign workers. And by supply and demand, the American middle class wage will drop and you'll have wage equality. Hiring illegal aliens takes away from kids living in poverty opportunities for entry-level jobs whereby they can build a resume.
Mike, Mike, let me jump in there and say that, that when you take a look at sanctuary cities specifically, right? Like the mayor of Chicago, he's like, hey, send us all the illegal aliens. We're going to keep them here. We're going to protect them. Meanwhile, he's got people throughout Chicago who can't find jobs, and because they can't find the jobs, they're out there, peddling weed, and they're out there selling drugs, and they get involved in gangs, and they're killing each other. So I want to make a shift here to the sanctuary city, because a lot of people at home don't understand. How are these mayors getting away with allowing to basically break the law?
Well, it blows my mind. And what blows my mind is if you look at the 9/11 Commission report, and by the way, there was another terror attack, this time Russia today in the subway system. They again believe coming out of Chechnya, radical Islamists. How in the world do you not look at the 9/11 Commission report, to which I provided testimony, that made it clear that first and foremost, 9/11 and other terrorist attacks were made possible by multiple failures of the immigration system. And when they start screaming about the Constitution, they need to look up Article 4, Section 4, that the federal government shall protect the states from invasion and domestic violence. How do you protect the states against invasion when the borders aren't secure and anybody who can get past the border?
All right, but Mike, just answer the question for this. Are they breaking the law, these mayors? Are they breaking the law?
Yeah, they are, but unfortunately, the way that the administration is looking at it is the states' rights issue. But if you or I did it, you would go to jail. Title 8, United States Code, Section 1324, harboring, aiding, abetting, shielding, and encouraging and inducing. They're doing all the above. And all illegal aliens aren't the same. Some are convicted felons, some are gang members, some are convicted murderers. Why would you want to harbor them in your community?
So, Mike, why aren't they going to jail? I mean, why aren't there real consequences for mayors like Rahm Emanuel or Bill de Blasio in New York or Garcetti out in L.A.? Why aren't there consequences for both law enforcement and elected leaders that choose to defy federal law, to act in defiance of the federal government? Why aren't there consequences?
I hope that Jeff Sessions takes a hard look. I understand that the states have certain rights in terms of how they deal with federal law enforcement, and I believe that's what they're hiding behind. But, if the average American understood the damage being done, the threat this poses to public safety, national security, they'd be screaming. This use of the word immigrant has everyone bamboozled. The difference between an immigrant and an illegal alien is comparable to the difference between a house guest and a burglar, and people are missing that point. People are outraged, saying, oh my God, Trump wants to deport the immigrants. No, he doesn't. He wants to deport illegal aliens.
There is a report,
Mike. The laws, they have nothing to do with race, religion, or ethnicity. As an immigration agent, I spent years right in arrest a single Spanish-speaking alien. I've arrested aliens from Europe.
Mike, there is an argument. Let me just cut you off for 1 second here. There is a report out today that there are actually cops in New York City who are defying what it is that de Blasio is saying. And they're actually, when they're capturing illegal aliens, they are contacting ICE and saying to them, hey, we've got this guy, we've got this gal, or whatever it may be. We've only got about a minute and a half left.
Sure.
When you were an INS agent, which for the people at home, that is now ICE. When you were an INS agent, give us an example of how difficult it was for you to do your job when a city, like a sanctuary city, wouldn't give you the assistance that you needed.
I'll give you a very quick example. I love Ed Koch, but he created the sanctuary nightmare. I physically deported a drug dealer from Panama, not Mexico. He had a green card, lost it because of multiple drug and violent crime convictions. He came back illegally after I put him on an airplane. He was arrested twice by the New York City Police Department. The third time he's encountered by a 24-year-old cop by the name of Robert Machadi. He gets into a fight with Machadi. Machadi dies on a street corner in Brooklyn. I testified at that murder trial.
When you take a look at what President Trump has done so far, it's not 100 days yet, but we're approaching that quickly. From an immigration standpoint, Michael, are you happy with what the president has done so far and what he has laid the groundwork to do? And give us in 30 seconds why you're happy.
Because he's not just talking about defense, that's getting a lot of attention. Interior enforcement has always been the missing component. He's going after it. He's already hiring more judges. He's looking to hire more agents. And by the way, if you'll notice, the numbers of people running the border have gone down, and I call that deterrence through enforcement. And by the way, quick point: if you want to protect illegal aliens, bring them to ICE. If they have actionable intelligence, ICE will give them visas to stay here. That's the way that the mayors should be operating, not against the law, but to follow the law.
All right, Michael, I appreciate it. We are always going to have you back. I'd like to have you back maybe once a week.
Yes.
Have you be a regular on this, right, Harlan?
Fantastic.
The smartest guy when it comes to immigration. Next time we have you on, we're going to talk about E-Verify, because that's like my little baby boy. I want my E-Verify mandatory all over the country. All right, Michael, thank you so much, my pal. All right, so tell us what you think. Go to right now to DennisMichaelLynch.com, click the Submit News button, and tell us what you think. You agree with what Michael Cutler says here today, or do you agree with the Democrats about the fact that we should just leave these people in these sanctuary cities? All right, when we get back, we're going to be talking to you about Nancy Pelosi. Immigration. They Come to America 1, 2, and 3 wraps up every aspect of that topic, immigration. Now we've put it together in a trilogy. Drug cartels, northern border, southern border, working with the Border Patrol. Everything you need to know is in these documentaries. The trilogy is available to you at dmldaily.com/films. You will not be disappointed. Welcome back. You know, when we were putting together our first show, I said, you know, Harlan, what do you want to do for Harlan on the Hill segment? And he said, we have to do something on Nancy Pelosi. And the reason why he said that was because he knows how much I can't stand her. So that being said, he sort of gave me a gift. So here to tell you about Nancy's money, Pelosi's money, is Harlan Hill.
You know, Dennis, it's not just Republicans like you that can't stand Nancy Pelosi. It's plenty of Democrats as well. She's a universally loathed figure. But what I find so outrageous about her is that she wants to act as some holier-than-thou Robin Hood figure, that she's trying to rob from the rich and give to the poor. It couldn't be any further from the truth. Let's play this clip and I'll tell you why.
So I'm just saying, give it, at least show us your tax returns. Is the audit over? This is the audit for eternity. The president continues to hide his tax returns, which could provide vital insight into what financial influence Russia has on him, whether it's personal, political, or financial.
So as you heard there, Nancy Pelosi is pushing for an investigation into President Donald Trump's finances. He wants him to release his tax returns, and she's been hitting him over the head for it for quite some time. But what I find to be so outrageous about that is that as of 2014, we knew that Nancy Pelosi was worth over $202 million. She's one of the richest members of Congress. What we don't know is Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul's finances. This guy is an ultra-wealthy real estate investor and a venture capitalist. And he's been able to be an active investor, not just in those areas, but also in the stock market for quite some time. He's owned stock in Facebook, Apple, and other big Fortune 500 companies that have been impacted by her regulations. So what's been asserted by both parties is that Nancy Pelosi has engaged in insider trading because she's been the beneficiary of information that other people wouldn't otherwise have. So Paul Pelosi is able to make active trades on her insider knowledge and benefit from her position as the minority leader in the House, and formerly when she was Speaker of the House as the Democratic leader under the Obama administration. So this is just totally outrageous, Dennis. I think people have had enough of this corruption in Washington. When Donald Trump talks about draining the swamp, this is it. She is the swamp.
You know, a lot of times people ask me, Harlan, why do people in Wisconsin continue to elect Paul Ryan when everybody says we want to drain the swamp? He is the swamp. I guess the same can be said, even more so for Nancy Pelosi. I mean, why is it that California continues to elect this woman?
Well, they don't see her for who she truly is. And I think it's amazing. She's from ultra-liberal San Francisco, right? So she fits in great there. A bunch of really rich tech billionaires and millionaires. Those are her constituents. It's not everyday people. It's not the people that you see in Ohio and Nebraska. It's a different crowd.
Anyway, I think both of them. Wouldn't it be nice if we could both just take Nancy and put Paul Ryan I don't know, get them to get married or something like that, and send them to another country where they can help screw up that place. Don't go away. We're going to read your emails when we get back.
Thousands of people donate to us every month because they trust us. In this world of fake news and nonsense, they come to us to give them the real truth, unfiltered, unbiased. That's why we need your support. We're building out a big news operation to take on the mainstream media, to take on these guys. But we can only remain independent as long as we have your support. So please, go to dmldaily.com/donate and give whatever you can. $5, $1,000, whatever you can afford. It will all go to building a news operation that you can trust.
Welcome back. All right, so when we decided that we were going to create this program, I told Harlan I wanted to take the comfort of a living room and put it together with news and analysis, with all the screens. And the reason being is because the majority of the time when you're having these sort of conversations, you're not having them in a plastic room with fancy lights. You're having them in a living room like this. So that's why we're ending every segment here in the living room in a very casual sort of way. And we've got Priebus the Pelican here. Priebus the Pelican. Priebus, as in like Chief of Staff Priebus. All right? So what we do is we get so many emails every single day. So what we're going to do at the end of every show is we take 2 emails. We don't know who's getting which one. All right? We shove them around. Harlan will take 2.
Yeah.
I take 2. We read them. You guys have submitted these to us. And one of us will answer it. All right? So I start with the first one. It's from Roger. Roger writes in, "Hey guys, I was watching Fox News this morning and a man said Obama deported more illegal aliens than Bush. Is that true?" You want me to take this one?
Yeah, take it.
This is my bailiwick. All right, so here's the deal. Obama changed the definition of a deportation. So all of his numbers are totally off. What do I mean by that? Real quick, if Joe from Mexico were to come over the Rio Grande and he were to be brought over to the International Bridge and sent back home, that's called a turnback. But what President Obama did was he changed that to be a deportation. It's not, but that's what he did. So with Joe from Mexico tried 5 more times that day, that was a total of 6 deportations on the books for Obama. So that's the deal on that. All right,
That's
you read.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so this question is from Lisa. She says, will you be having guests in the studio, and will you ever invite some of your supporters to be on as guests? It's an interesting question. I mean, we could maybe one day we could have a studio audience or something, but not here. There wouldn't be any room.
I don't know if we're allowed to disclose it. I don't think we're going to disclose the location anytime soon of where we are, Harley. You know what I mean? We'll have some funky people showing up here. But no, I mean I wouldn't have a problem with having somebody come on as a Skype guest or something of that nature. And yes, we are going to have people here in the studio. We've got some people coming in next week, actually.
Yes.
This week we're sort of getting all the kinks out with the lights and the cameras and the sound and all the other different stuff. But yeah, and definitely as we go on. All right, my turn. I got one from Max. Max, DML, the other day during a walk and talk, Harlan said he didn't think Priebus was doing a good job of Chief of Staff. Oh, this kind of matches. Who would Harlan prefer to be in that position?
How about DML?
Chief of Staff?
Well, I know it. Okay. But no, he's the most powerful person in the White House. He is like the CEO of the White House at that point. The president is the CEO of the country, but he's running the operation there. It's really important to have a smart guy doing it. I don't know. Maybe beneath Dennis, I'd take it. But I guarantee you there'd be no leaks in my White House because it's ridiculous what they've allowed their employees to get away with there.
I'd like to see it be somebody like Newt Gingrich.
Newt would be great. Newt wouldn't take it, though. It's for the same reason you wouldn't take it, you know?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Just wouldn't do it.
All right, last one.
Yeah, so this question...
So anyway, do you have an answer? It can't be me.
Well, I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back to you.
All right.
Now, this question is from Susan. She says, DML, I've heard you in the past say immigration is the biggest problem facing America. But then a few months ago, you said it was the media. Which do you think it is right now? This is for you, so I'll let you answer it. But I think it's the media. Because I think the media colors everything.
Hands down, the media. You're watching what they're doing with Trump. You're watching what they're doing with immigration, with everything. They are distorting the facts, and therefore the American people just don't have access to the truth. Unless they watch this one.
Yeah.
This show. Yeah. All right, we're going to end on that. We thank you so much for joining us. Be back tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here in the, what are we calling this?
The estate.
The estate. Right in the state. Thank you. May God bless you. May God bless our troops. May God bless the president and these great United States. See you tomorrow.